growling sound near a meter socket can indicate several potential issues that require careful investigation. Here are some potential causes and troubleshooting steps to help identify the problem. Firstly, consider a loose ground connection. The ground connection from the meter socket to the main panel is essential for safety. If this connection is loose, it can create arcing, which manifests as a growling sound. Secondly, a faulty or overloaded neutral wire can be the culprit. The neutral wire carries the return current for all circuits in the house. If the neutral wire is overloaded or has a loose connection, it can cause heat buildup and a growling noise. Thirdly, arcing between wires could be the cause. Inspect the wires in the meter socket and main panel for any signs of arcing, such as charred or melted insulation. Fourthly, a loose or damaged transformer can produce such a sound. The transformer, often located near the meter socket, can generate a growling noise if it is loose or damaged. Fifthly, the meter itself might be faulty. The meter can fail internally and create an intermittent growling sound. Here are some troubleshooting steps to take when addressing a growling sound near the meter socket. 1. Safety first. Before working on any electrical components, it is critical to turn off the main breaker to avoid electrical shock. 2. Inspect all connections. Thoroughly check the tightness of all connections in the meter socket and the main panel. Loose connections can lead to arcing and unusual noises. 3. Check for an overloaded neutral wire. Use a clamp meter to measure the current in the neutral wire. If the current on the neutral wire is significantly higher than the current on the other wires, it indicates a potential overload. 4. Look for signs of arcing. Carefully inspect the wires for any burn marks or melted insulation, which are clear indicators of arcing. 5. Examine the meter for unusual behavior. Note if the meter is making any unusual noises or if the display is erratic, as these can be symptoms of a failing meter. It is important to understand the role of the ground connection. The ground wire provides a path for fault current to return to the source, tripping the breaker and preventing electrical shock. A loose or corroded ground connection can impede this process, leading to arcing and a growling sound. The neutral wire is equally important. It carries the unbalanced current from the hot wires back to the transformer. An overloaded neutral wire can overheat, causing insulation damage and potentially leading to a fire hazard. Arcing is a dangerous condition that occurs when electricity jumps between two conductors. This can be caused by loose connections, damage to insulation, or excessive voltage. Arcing produces heat and can ignite nearby materials, posing a significant fire risk. Transformers are used to step down the voltage from the utility lines to a usable voltage for residential homes, typically 240 volts, which is then split into two 120-volt legs. If the transformer is loose or damaged, it can vibrate and produce a growling noise. The meter measures the amount of electricity consumed by the house. A faulty meter can provide inaccurate readings and may also produce unusual noises. When inspecting the connections in the meter socket and main panel, look for signs of corrosion or oxidation. Clean any corroded connections with a wire brush and apply an antioxidant compound to prevent future corrosion. When measuring the current on the neutral wire with a clamp meter, be sure to select the appropriate range on the meter. Also, ensure that the clamp meter is properly calibrated for accurate readings. If you find any burn marks or melted insulation, replace the damaged wires immediately. Use appropriately sized wire connectors and ensure they are properly tightened. When examining the meter, look for any physical damage, such as cracks or broken seals. Also, listen for any buzzing or humming sounds coming from the meter. If you suspect that the meter is faulty, contact the utility company for further evaluation. Additionally, consider the age of the electrical components. Older wiring and equipment are more prone to failure and may need to be replaced. If the electrical system in the house is outdated, consider upgrading it to meet current safety standards. This may involve replacing the meter socket, main panel, and wiring. When working with electrical components, always wear appropriate personal protective equipment, including safety glasses and insulated gloves. Avoid working in damp or wet conditions, as this increases the risk of electric shock. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to contact a qualified electrician for assistance. A qualified electrician has the knowledge and experience to diagnose and repair electrical problems safely and effectively. They can also ensure that the electrical system meets all applicable codes and regulations. If the growling sound persists after performing these troubleshooting steps, it is recommended to contact a qualified electrician for further inspection and repair. Electrical problems can be complex and potentially dangerous, so it is always best to err on the side of caution. Remember that electrical work should only be performed by qualified individuals who understand the risks involved and have the necessary training and equipment. Ignoring electrical problems can lead to serious consequences, including electrical shock, fire, and property damage. Regularly inspect the electrical system in a house for any signs of damage or wear. This includes checking the wiring, outlets, switches, and circuit breakers. Replace any damaged or worn components promptly to prevent electrical problems from developing. Keep the area around the meter socket and main panel clear of obstructions. This will allow for easy access to the components for inspection and maintenance. Install smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors throughout the house. Test these detectors regularly to ensure they are functioning properly. Have a fire extinguisher readily available in case of an electrical fire. Ensure that everyone in the house knows how to use the fire extinguisher properly. Consider installing surge protectors to protect electronic equipment from power surges. Power surges can damage sensitive electronics and appliances, so it is important to protect them from this threat. Avoid overloading electrical circuits. Overloading a circuit can cause the wires to overheat and potentially start a fire. Use extension cords sparingly and avoid plugging multiple appliances into a single outlet. If you are planning any renovations or additions to the house, consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the electrical system is adequate for the increased load. Obtain all necessary permits before starting any electrical work. This will ensure that the work is performed according to code and that it is inspected by a qualified electrical inspector. Educate yourself and the other members of the household about electrical safety. This will help to prevent accidents and injuries. Be aware of the signs of electrical problems, such as flickering lights, burning smells, and sparking outlets. If you notice any of these signs, investigate the problem immediately. Never attempt to repair electrical equipment or appliances unless you are qualified to do so. Always disconnect the power before working on any electrical equipment. When replacing light bulbs, use the correct wattage for the fixture. Using a bulb with a higher wattage than recommended can overheat the fixture and potentially start a fire. Keep electrical cords away from water and heat sources. Water and heat can damage the insulation on the cords and create a shock hazard. If you have any questions or concerns about electrical safety, consult with a qualified electrician. They can provide you with valuable information and advice to help you protect yourself and your family from electrical hazards. Moreover, grounding ensures that metallic parts of electrical equipment are at zero potential relative to ground. This minimizes the risk of electric shock if someone touches a faulty appliance. Bonding is the process of connecting all metallic parts of the electrical system together to create a low impedance path for fault current. This helps to ensure that circuit breakers trip quickly in the event of a fault. Surge protection devices, or SPDs, protect electronic equipment from voltage spikes caused by lightning strikes or other power surges. These devices divert the excess voltage to ground, preventing it from damaging sensitive electronics. Arc fault circuit interrupters, or FSIs, are special circuit breakers that detect arc faults, which are a common cause of electrical fires. When an arc fault is detected, the FSI trips the circuit breaker, cutting off the power and preventing a fire. Ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, protect people from electric shock by detecting ground faults, which occur when current leaks from an electrical circuit to ground. When a ground fault is detected, the GFCI trips the circuit breaker, cutting off the power and preventing an electric shock. Smoke detectors are essential safety devices that provide an early warning of a fire. They detect smoke in the air and sound an alarm, giving people time to escape. Carbon monoxide detectors are also important safety devices that detect carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless gas that can be deadly. These detectors sound an alarm when carbon monoxide levels are high, giving people time to evacuate. Electrical codes and standards are developed by organizations such as the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, and the International Code Council, or IC. These codes and standards provide guidance on the safe installation and maintenance of electrical systems. Local jurisdictions often adopt these codes and standards into law, so it is important to be familiar with the electrical codes in your area. Electrical inspections are conducted by qualified electrical inspectors to ensure that electrical installations comply with applicable codes and standards. These inspections help to identify potential hazards and ensure that the electrical system is safe. Permits are typically required for electrical work to ensure that it is performed according to code and that it is inspected by a qualified electrical inspector. Obtaining the necessary permits can help to prevent problems and ensure that the electrical system is safe. Hiring a qualified electrician is essential for ensuring that electrical work is performed safely and correctly. A qualified electrician has the knowledge, skills, and experience to diagnose and repair electrical problems and to install electrical systems according to code. Checking the electrician's credentials is an important step in ensuring that you are hiring a qualified professional. Ask for proof of licensure, insurance, and bonding. Reading online reviews can also provide valuable insights into the electrician's reputation and quality of work. Asking for references from previous clients can help you to assess the electrician's experience and expertise. Obtaining multiple bids from different electricians can help you to ensure that you are getting a fair price for the work. Be sure to compare the bids carefully and ask questions about any discrepancies. Signing a written contract with the electrician can help to protect your interests and ensure that the work is performed according to your expectations. The contract should include a detailed description of the work to be performed, the price, and the payment schedule. Communicating effectively with the electrician is essential for ensuring that the work is performed to your satisfaction. Be sure to clearly communicate your expectations and ask questions if you have any concerns. Monitoring the progress of the work is important for ensuring that it is being performed according to the contract and that any problems are addressed promptly. Paying the electrician only after the work is completed and you are satisfied with the results is a good way to protect your interests. Be sure to obtain a written warranty for the work performed. Warranties can provide you with protection against defects in materials or workmanship. Keeping records of all electrical work performed on your home can be helpful for future reference and for insurance purposes. These records should include copies of permits, contracts, and warranties. Finally, remember that electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By taking the necessary precautions and following the advice in this guide, you can help to protect yourself and your family from electrical hazards.